When done well, training and skill development don't need to be balanced because they're actually part of the same process. One of the biggest challenges in helping swimmers improve is developing fitness and developing skills, and more importantly, developing both at the same time. Let's take a look at how to make that happen. Hi everyone, Andrew here, helping you help your swimmers get faster. I was recently asked how to go about balancing the prioritization of skill development and training. This is a really great question because it illustrates one of the biggest challenges coaches face. To me, this question only exists because of how we traditionally view skill development and training. We see them as separate processes. However, if we can start to view them as one process, where skills are improved at the same time as fitness, we can avoid this very issue and we don't have to make the choice between prioritizing skill development or training. Here's how I like to think about it. In practice situations, the goal is to challenge skills over time. If we challenge skills over time, fitness is going to improve and skills are going to get better. At first, simply executing a skill well is the initial challenge. It doesn't have to be perfect, but we're looking for better. This is going to happen at the beginning of the season. And in most cases, this low-level work is sufficient for helping to start build fitness, especially when swimmers are returning from some sort of break. As soon as they can execute the targeted skills with some sort of competence, it's time to start challenging those skills. You can add speed, you can add duration, you can add volume, you can add fatigue. You can also use training aids, you can also use resistance. The goal is to make it harder. That means it's going to be harder technically and it's going to be harder physically. That means better skills and it means better training. If we're having swimmers practice great skills while swimming really fast, that's a sprint set. If we're having swimmers execute great skills while swimming in race-like conditions, that's a pace set or a race set. We're having swimmers practice great skills while swimming over longer distances or higher volumes. That's an endurance or an aerobic set. We're just trying to get swimmers to perform the key skills in more and more difficult situations. It's the same thing as trying to train and build fitness where you're getting swimmers to work in more and more difficult situations. The two processes become one and the same, and the challenge is built in and built up over time. The goal is to train skills so that swimmers can execute those skills at high levels and high speed and sustain them over the course of their races. If they can do that, it was a successful training process. From a practical perspective, whenever I'm writing a set, I usually have one and occasionally two clear skill development goals and one clear fitness goal. So for each set, I'm going to challenge that skill in a specific fitness context. Let's say we're doing an aerobic set and the focus is on using the arms more effectively. We're going to be swimming at steady effort for higher volume, and we can add stroke counts, pull buoys, different hand postures, or other related strategies to put more emphasis on what they're doing with the pull. We're going to improve their ability to move water with the hands. And they're doing it in a way that builds aerobic fitness. We're simply challenging their ability to swim with great skills over longer distances. We don't have to choose between fitness and skill development because they're one and the same and we can get both within the same set. And if you already have a training plan, you can just use that plan to challenge swimmers' skills in a way that the plan dictates. There are tons of different ways to do it. And regardless of how you train swimmers, you just have to think about how you can challenge skills while you challenge fitness at the same time. So how does this change with swimmers of different ages and abilities? It's the same principles, however the application is going to be a little bit different. Swimmers of different ages typically have different ability levels, and that's going to be reflected in the type of activities that are most appropriate for them to perform. For young swimmers, simply executing great skills is going to be really challenging. It's really hard for them to swim well. And as a result, they don't need too much extra challenge to improve their skills. The same applies to their physical aspect of their training. Even small amounts of work are going to be difficult for them, and that small amount of work is going to be sufficient to improve their fitness. With more advanced swimmers, it's not particularly difficult to get them to swim well at relatively slow speeds. To help them continue to improve their skills, we're going to have to add challenge. And that challenge is going to present a significant physical challenge as well. To improve skills, we have to challenge skills, and that means we're going to challenge them physically, which is going to improve their fitness. In both cases, we're focused on challenging their skills and their fitness. With younger swimmers, low-speed skill work is sufficient to improve their skills and their fitness. But in advanced swimmers, we need more of a challenge. So really, the only difference is the nature of that challenge, the nature of how you make things more difficult to improve skills and improve fitness. To balance skill development and training, it's easiest to stop thinking about them as separate processes. Everything became simpler and more effective for me once I was able to do that. For each workout and each set, It's just a matter of training swimmers to execute the key skills in difficult situations. Regardless of the type of training, adding a skill component is going to help swimmers learn how to perform under pressure. As workouts become more difficult, swimmers learn how to execute in more and more difficult situations, and they also develop the fitness necessary to continue to execute those skills when things get tough. For one of my favorite strategies to improve skills and develop fitness all at the same time, check out the video here. Hope that was helpful, and as always, keep it simple.